We've got 5 folks here. Okay, good. It might just be us.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and give this just a couple of minutes to let people start joining into the webinar. Today we do have Andreas, or as you might know him throughout Discord and other social channels, Acevail.
That's a good point. I'm just going to rename myself. Yeah.
And Tim is here. Hi, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Chris.
And we'll go ahead and get started right at the top of the hour here, just letting people join now and making sure everybody is able to get in. For those who are joining us, you will find inside of Zoom, there's a Q&A section. Feel free to start adding any questions that you have for Acevail or the new Secure the Mint primitive that he is working on. And we also have a Discord channel available for the feedback to community. Feel free to add any other questions in there as well. I will be monitoring both sections to pick up any questions that arise. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. Thank you all for joining. My name is Clyde. I also go by Bryant, and you'll find me in Discord providing support. You'll also see me interacting with different developers and community members on behalf of the CNI Developer Relations team. Today, we have a real treat. We have Acevail, or Andreas, from Mint Garden. He is the founder of Mint Garden. He worked on a number of other projects and is also involved in the upcoming bridge between ETH and Chia. So definitely involved in a lot of exciting things here. Today, we're going to focus on one specific primitive that Andreas has been working on. He is dubbing it Secure the Mint, and it is a unique way to mint NFTs directly to a user via offer files. This is early in the stage, so Acevail is going to give us a quick rundown of what the entire primitive is going to entail, what it really does for us, and what stage we're at in its development. Acevail, I'm going to turn it over to you, and at the end, we'll go ahead and circle back to questions. So anybody joining us, use the Zoom Q&A or use the Discord channel for feedback to the community to post any of your questions. Acevail, thank you very much for joining us, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Brand, for the kind introduction. Welcome, everybody. It's exciting to bring this out into the world and tell you all more about this new way of how to mint NFTs on Chia. As Brent said, I'm Andreas. I created Mint Garden. And for those people who don't know Mint Garden is this website and project that allows you to mint NFTs on Chia, that allows you to then discover all the NFTs that other people have created on the blockchain, of course. And it also allows you to share offer files for trading. And this minting solution has been available for quite some time using the Mint Garden Studio desktop application. And more recently, Mint Garden has released a web minting solution. So it uses the Gobi desktop, the Gobi browser extension wallet to connect directly to the Mint Garden website and allow you to mint NFTs from within Mint Garden, the website. If you want to check it out, here's the link. And today we want to talk about minting. And specifically, how do you actually mint an NFT on the Chia blockchain? And for that, I actually want to start at the beginning of what is a Chia NFT? What is an NFT on the Chia blockchain? How is it represented on the blockchain? And please let me know if it's getting too technical, but I think to understand this new way of minting and what it changes, why it wasn't possible with the existing solutions and why this solution enables new cool things, I have to talk a little bit about how NFTs look like and how they are minted on the Chia blockchain. And to start it off, in its essence, a Chia NFT is what we call a singleton. A singleton is necessary because, as some of you might know, Chia stores a bunch of coins. Everything that's stored on the blockchain is one or another type of coins. And each coin can only be spent once, so it can only do a thing once in its lifetime. After that, it's destroyed, it's gone, you cannot spend it again. The problem now is that for some kind of applications, be it NFTs, be it other things like decentralized identities and things we will talk about, you want to have a token that changes some of its properties, but it stays the same token. So it has to have a history of being one thing and one thing only, and not being separated or merged together. And to achieve that, there is the primitive of the singleton, which is basically a construct of GLSP, of puzzle code, that ensures that each coin that is a singleton can only have one single child that is also a singleton. So it inherits the properties of its parent. And you can specifically not do a split like this. This is not possible because the singleton code protects you and everybody else from doing that. And this is important because with this primitive, we can now do things like NFTs. NFTs are singletons, so they are created, and then the singleton code makes sure that this thing only exists once, and only exists once in the future as well. However, it's not just the singleton. There's actually a bunch of other GLSP code that makes up this NFT, and the whole NFT puzzle is basically built of layers. It's not super important of what the layers are, but like one layer is responsible for the metadata, like which links it points to. One layer is responsible for the whole DID ownership concept. One is responsible for enforcing royalties for trades. And one part is responsible for determining who actually owns the NFT. This is the what we call the P2 puzzle, the payment puzzle, the thing that determines who actually owns the NFT. So this is an NFT. And now, what can you actually do with the NFT? Let's go back here. If you want to transfer an NFT, that's actually pretty simple. You basically spend one NFT and replace this ownership puzzle with a new one. So first, it was owned by me, and then I transfer it by changing this puzzle to somebody else's ownership puzzle, so to speak. We also call it standard puzzle, or basically that's what the Chia address represents. So that's a transfer. It's pretty straightforward. But what we also want to do with our NFTs is trade. We want to trade NFTs. We want to request payment for us giving somebody else ownership of the NFT that we own. And we do that with offers. And I think most of the people in the audience will know how Chia Offers work. You basically offer something and you request something in return. And if you look at how this offer looks like internally, it's basically I own an NFT and I say, I move it into the trade. I create a new coin, but only if somebody else is providing the other part of the trade, is providing, in this case, an XCH payment. And this partial transaction will be signed by my private key, and this thing can be sent out in the world. This is basically the content of an offer file. And now anybody that is able to find this offer on the internet, wherever you want, on Dexia, on Mint Garden, is able to provide the other part of the trade. It's basically providing the XCH side of things. And what they will do is they will provide some kind of XCH coin that will go into the trade. And the two sides of the trade will check that the other side is there, and we'll make sure that the trade will go through. And only then this whole thing, the completed offer, goes on chain, and the swap happens atomically. So this is an offer. This is how trading is done on Chia. And this is important because now we have two actions. We have the creation of NFTs and we have the trading of NFTs. And let's go a little bit into the detail of creating NFTs. How have NFTs been created in the past? How are NFTs created today? And there are actually different ways of how you can do it. The easiest way is single minting. I want to create one single NFT. And to do that, that's actually very straightforward from a technical perspective. You take one of your XCH coins and you spend it in a way that it basically, you tell it, you are now an NFT. And you do that by creating what we call a launcher coin. And then this launcher creates an NFT. And there's also a second NFT spent in this minting transaction. So this thing happens in one block. It creates an XCH coin, does two ephemeral spends, and then there's a new NFT coin that is unspent, that it can be used by other people, that can be used by you, because you probably are the owner if you do that. But this is how you mint an NFT. You basically paint your XCH coin in a way that it now pretends to be an NFT or follows the NFT standard, basically. What's now going to be interesting is that in Chia NFTs, we have this concept, or in the Chia world, we have this concept of decentralized identities. Decentralized identities are basically also singletons, but now, and you could actually say that they are kind of NFT, they're also non-fungible, and but they represent a user or an entity or basically whatever you want, but we mostly use it to represent both creators of NFTs and current owners of NFTs. And what is now interesting to do is we want to assign such a decentralized identity to a mint. So basically we want to say, I am this identity on chain, and I want to attest that I, in fact, created this NFT. And to do that, you want to assign the DID to the NFT on mint. In the single minting case, you basically do that by spending your DID coin as well, and let it assert, you spend your DID coin and you enter your own DID as the first owner of this newly created NFT. So you basically say, I create this NFT and I am the first owner. And by convention, we say the DID that is also entered as the first owner is the creator, because it's the first owner in its lineage. This is how we did NFT minting for the first half a year or a year of after launch. But it gets very tedious. You basically have to do this huge spend every time you want to make an NFT. And you always have to spend your DID with it, because it has to basically attest that you really own this thing. So if you want to mint 10,000 Chia Friends NFTs, you actually have to do this 10,000 times. And that's a lot of work. So to make that more efficient, the Chia team came up with what we call bulk minting. This saves a little bit of work by using one DID spend for a lot of NFTs. And instead of adding the DID as the first owner, we now use a different way of connecting the DID to the new NFT. We use it as its parent. And this is basically done by, we have the same construct here. We have a new launcher that launches an NFT. And we use the DID coin as its direct parent. This is basically, by the way, only because I said singletons can only have one child. They can theoretically have more, but only one with an odd amount. That's technical detail, not so important. It doesn't break the singleton. It's just a way of how you can do other things. Those intermediate launch basically have an amount of 0, but it's not important here. So in this case, the DID, one single DID spend creates 25 NFTs, or up to 25 NFTs. So we create a bulk of NFTs, 25 pieces at a time, with a single DID coin spend. And this still ensures that whoever looks at this NFT can figure out, well, who is the creator of this thing, by just traversing the history until it finds the DID coin as the parent. This is a very strong relationship. Actually, it's you could say it's actually even a bit better, representing what it actually means, because this thing is literally the creator of or in the history of this NFT. So in this case, we can now create 25 NFTs with a single DID spend. And this also means 25 DIDs in the single block, which is cool. And DID spends are rather, or are expensive, so it's very good if you only need one. Those intermediate launches are very small, so that's no big deal. You need them for technical reasons. But yeah, this is how a bulk mint with DIDs work. And this is basically what the Mint Garden Studio has been doing for the last year. It basically, if you want to create 1,000 NFTs, you mint 25, wait for the bulk to be done, and then you mint the next 25, and then you wait for that. And so you have to pay, the minting solution has to be online all the time. It has to wait for a bulk to be completed, and then it has to start a new one. And it has to sign this spend every time, basically. So it's a very active process that needs your private key and has to work continuously to get all these NFTs minted. So this has a few shortcomings. One is that you have to create all the NFTs before you can actually do anything with them. So before you can sell them, you have to create them, which kind of sounds required to sell something that you have to create it before. But maybe you don't know how many you actually sell. So it's a lot of work to create a lot of NFTs in bulk, when you then don't even know how many of those you will actually sell. So you kind of want to have minting on demand. You want to only mint an NFT when there is actually somebody who wants to buy it, which is very common in other ecosystems, because they basically just have a big contract with a list of NFTs, and they just they get minted by entering the first buyer. This is very different in Chia, because we actually have to create the coins on chain to represent an NFT. So that's why we had to create them, and couldn't create them on demand. And the other problem is that you have to be available all the time, be online all the time to create all those NFTs. And so let's say we wanted to mint an NFT inside an offer. We want to mint an NFT only if there's somebody that buys it. And I mean, we spoke about offers before. It's basically this side of the slide. This is a partially signed transaction that is not on chain yet. It has an input that is on chain, but the rest is not on chain yet. There are coins inside the offer that don't exist yet. And so if you extend that and say, I mean, this coin doesn't have to exist either, as long as something in its history exists. So you can actually add the mint spend in front of the offer spend. So this is the offer part, and now you say, oh, by the way, this NFT doesn't exist yet. It's being created by this part of the offer. So this part is actually something that you were able to do for a longer time now. And actually, the Chia name service, the CNS, they have been using this. They have been using this part to create their name NFTs. They basically only mint this Chia name service NFT if somebody takes the offer, which is very good because you don't want to create or mint an NFT that is then never bought, especially in this very dynamic, very on-demand fashion. So this is possible, but now the problem is that the Chia ecosystem has focused a lot on this DID, on the part of who is this creator, who is the entity creating this NFT. And the problem now is, if you want to put your DID into this whole thing, it gets problematic because, as we talked before, the DID is a singleton. So it cannot be spent twice. It has to be part of like every time an NFT is created, it has to be spent either once per NFT or once per bulk. But you cannot add your DID to multiple offers because then the first offer that will be accepted will cancel all the other offers because this coin doesn't exist. So you can do it once, but you cannot use this method multiple times, which is problematic because most of the times you want to create a lot of offers and a lot of NFTs, or at least multiple, and canceling them all the time is not very user-friendly. So now you need a way of adding your DID to this whole thing while keeping it out of the offer. So you basically want to have it in the history somewhere without having it in this single spend. And to solve that, I've come up with what I call secure the mint, which is derived from secure the bag, which is a method that came out from Bitcoin, invented by Jeremy Rubin, which is a method to basically pre-commit a large payment to a lot of users on chain, and then unroll it to basically send it to the users on demand when people need the money, which is very important. If you have high fees, then you don't want to do a lot of transactions, but only do the transactions when they are interesting to the receiver, when the recipient actually wants to have them. And you can use the very same mechanism to mint NFTs and to pre-commit NFTs. So let's start this from this right side. This is a very normal NFT mint. You have a launcher, you create NFT. But now this thing has a tree in front of it. A tree that comes together in this root coin. And this root coin and those intermediate coins as well as those are fixed. They are pre-computed based on all the attributes of the NFTs that will be created in the end. So what you basically do is you pre-compute a lot of NFTs, how they will look like on chain, and then you create one single coin that, when spent, will just create exactly those NFTs. Which means that you basically predefine all the things that happen after it in this single coin. So it cannot do anything else but create exactly those coins. And you do that again for every layer of your tree up to a single root puzzle, a single root coin. So basically now you have one single coin that contains all the knowledge of all the NFTs that will be created after it or as its children, but it hasn't happened yet. It's basically a coin that cannot be spent in any other way but to create exactly those NFTs. And this is very important because now, by creating this single coin, whoever creates it can be sure that this thing cannot be altered in any way. Nobody can change it. It can only happen in exactly this way. And now you can guarantee, okay, nothing will change. Well, then I attest by spending my DID that this thing has been created by me. So I say I spent my DID, and by spending my DID, I attest that this thing has been created by me. And now this thing, this tree can be unrolled. It can be unraveled, so to speak, into all those NFTs, and nobody can change anything. The interesting thing is anybody can unroll this tree. There are no signatures required. There's nothing. There's no ownership concept of those coins. Anybody can spend them, but only in this very fixed way. So only in this very predefined way, which means that as soon as you unroll it all the way to the last coin, you will end up with exactly the NFTs that you wanted to have when you pre-computed it. Very complex. In this graphics, it's actually both from a user perspective and from a Chia perspective, it's actually very simple because a fixed puzzle basically says, if you spend me, I create this coin. Nothing else. There's nothing else, literally nothing else. It's but just if I get spent, I create this coin. Or this coin says, if I get spent, I create these 3 coins. This coin says, if I get spent, I create this coin. There's nothing else. The only thing that it does, it makes sure that the NFT actually contains all the things that we want. But yeah, that's the gist. One single coin will be unrolled into a whole collection. And no, there's no limit. You can do 10,000 NFTs that way, that all collapse into a single root coin. But what this now enables is you basically don't have to do this and this in the same block. You can pre-commit it at some time and then unroll it at some later time. And what you can also do is you can unroll it in an offer. And that's how the secure mint offers, or the minting via offers, finally works. Your DID pre-commits this single root coin. The root coin will be unrolled on chain by usually the creator until there are these pre-launcher coins, unspent pre-launcher coins. They sit there and wait to be poked to mint their NFT. And now you bundle both this like pre-launcher together with the mint of the NFT and the actual offer puzzles into a single offer file. So it's basically, I think it's this thing that we had before. So this single pre-launcher coin that has been created by unrolling the tree now makes sure that the mint happens exactly the way that we want it to. So with the right metadata, with the right royalty address, all that. And it also makes sure that the NFT offer also happens in exactly that way. So you basically predefine in this coin the price for which you want to sell your NFT afterwards. So this sync coin ensures that you take 1 XCH for minting your NFT, the first sale basically. So this single coin makes everything immutable. And so you can just go ahead and wrap it all into an offer, throw it on Mint Garden, throw it on Dexy, throw it around wherever you want to put it to. And whenever somebody takes the offer, they mint the NFT and directly trade it into their wallet, from your to their wallet. There's no other way. You cannot mint the NFT without taking the offer. There is no way of where the NFT can be created but not traded. The only escape hatch is you can actually melt the pre-launcher, so that's a way of getting out of this whole thing. If you create a bunch of, if you pre-commit a bunch of NFTs and then you decide you don't want to offer them for mint, you can actually melt them again and get your money back. But most of the times you just, it's basically they sit there until somebody mints them by paying the price. And that's basically it. That's how the dynamic minting via offer works under the hood. And I'm just gonna switch over to the browser now because Mint Garden does actually support that as of today. And so we want to try it out. But first, if you're interested, there is a repository on GitHub, the Mint Garden organization, which contains all the code and the explanation and all that. It creates the Chia list puzzles that you want to have. And it actually has driver code to do all that, to use it. So anybody can create NFTs this way. But now, if you played with web minting on Chia, on Mint Garden in the past, you might have noticed this edition button that was there, but was grayed out. And this edition button is now available. So you can go ahead and mint an edition. So an edition in this case means it's one piece of one work, one image, one video, whatever you want to mint, and a bunch of identical copies of it. So basically, in this case, I want to use my Mint Garden profile to create it. Then I say, I want to have 50 pieces in this edition. How many people do we have? 25 in this thing. Let's make 50. We want to use a new collection. Let's call them demo stickers. Stickers created in the Mint Garden demo. It's an image, and then royalties and sale price. That's basically, let's make it cheap. That's basically the price that people have to pay for the NFT to be minted. And in this case, the minting method is mint on demand. Note that Mint Garden will take a fee in this first sale, but no royalties in this case. But yeah, it's minting on demand, so it doesn't create the actual NFTs in this process. It only creates the root coin, unrolls it, and creates the offer files. So let's see whether this works. It will upload the NFT. It will ask me for my country because of tax reasons. And I'm not sure if you will probably not see the Gobi wallet pop up, but it will ask me to actually commit the root coin on chain. And now it's waiting for mempool confirmation. Let's go over here. This is the spend, by the way. Oh, we can actually look at the spend. So this is the DID. It's being spent. We created a new one. Not sure why it doesn't have a color. This is the exchange coin that pays the fee. We ignore that. And this is the root coin. This is the root coin of the NFT tree that I'm building. And I'm unrolling this root coin in this first step so that those 50 pre-launcher coins are created on chain. And as soon as this thing gets confirmed, it is here. It takes a little longer because it actually has to create the NFTs, the offers in the background. But now it says it's completed, and we go to this stickers collection. It actually fills those things in the background. That's why it counts up. It will count up until 50. And you will see that there is a new mint tab in this collection. So usually you have this items thing and activities thing, and there are actually no items in the collection. And if I took this collection and went over to SpaceScan, I would not see any NFTs because no NFTs have been created yet. So let's say we want to have 50, there are 50 unminted NFTs. I'm probably gonna add some more info to that to explain it a little better. But in this case, I now want to mint one of those unminted NFTs. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna request an offer, which is basically reserving it in the Mint Garden backend just to make sure that nobody else will take this offer. And now this is the offer. This is offering one demo sticker, the first one of this edition, and request some payment for it. And if you look at the details of this NFT, it actually says mint height unminted, created by Mint Garden, not yet minted. So now let's take this thing. Just gonna use my Gobi wallet, do it, and it will pay the price. It will, somebody else did the same thing. And this is how the NFT mint actually looks like. So this is the NFT, the turquoise colored thing. This is some XCH payment, and the question is, why are there three? One is the payment to the creator, one is the royalty, and one is the change, basically. And this thing here in the front is the pre-launcher and the launcher spend. So this is the thing that mints the NFT, and it makes sure that it's created exactly that way. So now when this thing goes through, we had a lot of non-transaction blocks, like it's always that case when experimenting or trying to explain things to people. But now it's completed, and now the offer also shows confirmed. And if I go into the NFT, it says there's a mint height, it has been minted, it has been created at some time, it has been acquired. So it actually shows that two events, the mint event and the trade event, but it happened at the same time. And if I go over to the SpaceScan, it hasn't picked it up yet, but it will also do so very soon. If I go into the, that's actually a bug. Two have been minted. The counter doesn't update correctly at the moment, but you can see it here. The first one has been minted, the second one has been minted. So somebody in the community went ahead and minted the second one. And yeah, the activity also shows there's also always a mint happening and then a trade happening, but it's all at the same time. So that's it. That's Secure the Mint. That's how it's being used in Mint Garden as of today. And of course, there's a lot of potential of what you can do with it. Of course, we will add the functionality to mint series, to mint different images in a single collection. We also only scratch the surface of what you actually can actually do with the Secure the Mint primitive. Because I mean, you can do an offer, you can also do expiring offers. You can say, you can only mint this NFT until next week, and then it's impossible. It's basically unmintable after that, and it automatically expires. So you can do mints that expire. You can also only mint to in specific cases. You can actually mint directly into your wallet with this primitive. And the interesting thing is that it works just as the old minting solutions, but you can actually allow somebody else to unroll it. So somebody else can come and unroll your 1,000, 10,000 NFT collection whenever the fees are low, something like that. So there's a lot of potential. And but that's what's here today. And that's what I wanted to show you. So thanks for the attention. And if there are any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, that is really exciting, Andreas. Thank you so much for the detailed overview, and always great to have a live demo as well. I know some of the others here might be jumping on Mint Garden in order to take a look at that demo sticker collection and potentially mint one of their own NFTs from the demo itself. Me personally, when I went on to find it, I just went to Mint Garden and in the search typed in demo stickers, and it was the first thing that popped up. So if anybody else wanted to give it a shot, that's a good way to do it. For those of you in here, if you want to ask questions, feel free to use the Zoom Q&A or use the Discord community feedback channel, and we'll go ahead and get those questions asked and answered. I do have a couple of questions for you as well, Andreas. And we obviously, with something like this, there's always two sides of it. We have the ingrained technical discussion side of things, and then we also have the user effect side of things. So I really want to start on that user effect and then circle back to the kind of the technical side of things. The first thing I want to overview and ask you is use cases. You know, you thoroughly overviewed the use case for a delayed minting situation or scenario where you can go ahead and create everything ahead of time, have everything exist on chain, and then start minting. What other use cases do you foresee? And I know you just started mentioning a few of those as well.
Yeah, so one important one is this unrolling, but basically outsourcing the minting. It's very interesting that you can actually do a single spend and then tell somebody else, here, please unroll it for me. I will pay you for it or whatever. But it's basically a service that does a lot of transactions to unroll your NFTs, and you don't have to pay attention to this. So this makes it very easy to have like one click, one confirmation, and then it just happens. Another thing is that you can actually, if you look at the NFT Secure the Mint, I actually came up with that yesterday, is that you can have a different kind of pre-launcher that basically allows you to specify the actually, for example, the metadata of the NFT at a later stage, but only if you have the creator private key. What that means is you still get the advantage of only requiring one DID spend, but you can still customize the NFT just before mint. But what that allows is that you can basically have users request a dynamically, basically a personal NFT, and the only thing you have to do is you have to sign this metadata filling, metadata update, but you don't have to do a DID spend, which makes it way easier to handle. And I know of a bunch of people in the community that are very excited about that, because it basically allows you to just seed snap, to do a lot of seed snap minting, but dynamically in offers, while still being able to fill the NFTs on demand. Not after mint, of course, but just before mint, as part of the offer file, basically.
Yeah, that's really exciting, kind of that delayed reveal concept, but it occurs at time of mint, and I think that's really exciting. Plus, it kind of leads into one of the questions we received from Michael. Indicates very cool thing. Thank you, Andreas. The demo, you minted one image 50 times. And if you had a collection of, say, 200 different images, would this still work for each? And I know you started to allude to this, Andreas, but if you don't mind going into a little more detail.
Yeah, so that's basically just a user interface thing, because I wanted to make the web minting as easy to use as possible. And as soon as you want to have a lot of different NFTs in your collection, you need very different UI. You either need some kind of spreadsheet, or you need something like a management user interface where you want to customize which NFT is named what, and assign metadata to images and all that, which is way more user interface compared to the single minting. But the primitive doesn't care about that. The primitive says you can customize every NFT as much as you want it. You can have each NFT with a different royalty address. You can have a different trade price. You can have different metadata. It's all completely customizable, and the Mint Garden backend actually allows that already. There's just no front end yet. So that's why the edition minting is a more focused use case of that.
Absolutely. And a quick follow-up question to that one as well. The driver code for Secure the Mint that you've already created inside of the repo there, does that already support the unique images and metadata, or will
Yes,
that need to be
it actually
updated?
reads. So if you look at there's a test case or some test cases, a unit test file, and it loads a metadata CSV file. So it basically supports the same format that the bulk minting, the Chia bulk minting tool uses, and it can just import that and use that. No problem.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And that's kind of on the user interaction side. I know we can go a lot more into it as to the amazing functionality. That's all the questions we've had so far from the community regarding that side of things. And oh wait, here we go. Actually, we do have one more from Josh Painter, and you did already answer it, but just to make sure it's readdressed here, are you able to make the royalty address itself dynamic and be able to set it during the mint time as well?
Yeah, I actually chatted with Josh about that topic yesterday, and yes, I've adjusted it in that way. And let me just screen share the Secure the Mint repo again. So this is the Secure the Mint launcher. It basically has everything carried in. So it's completely immutable, completely predefined. And then there is the dynamic launcher, which is this use case of just defining everything just before mint. And it has those 4 parts dynamic, which is the metadata, the royalty address, the royalty percentage, and actually also the target address, or the inner puzzle, which also determines the trade prices of the first sale. So it can actually update almost anything, but only if you sign it with the creator keeper.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And love to see the added security by requiring the creator key there. And I think that leads us into some of our next series of questions as to what is the next steps, what is the process for something like this. Now, I have to do the wonderful CNI disclaimer. CNI does not do formal code reviews. We don't do formal Chia list reviews. People within CNI have obviously taken a look at this puzzle and provided you input. Of course, that is aside from the CNI stuff. However, there is a process, the chip process, that can help standardize a lot of these things. And I know you have intentions of going through that, but do you mind just kind of describing where you're at right now in the code creation and what the next steps are going to be in that regard?
Mm-hmm. So the immutable launcher has been reviewed by 3 different people with extensive Chia list knowledge. So this is what I've considered the final Chia list code. So the things that I also demonstrated in the edition minting, this is what I consider production ready. And this is also something that DEXI has already adopted. So DEXI supports those kinds of offers, and SpaceCan has also confirmed that they will support this kind of basically DID detection system as well. So it's basically already adopted. So you could say you actually don't really have to do anything if you're a wallet, because it's still a very normal NFT. The only thing that changes is how you determine the creator DID. And there's a second part, which is supporting the minting offers. Right now, the minting offers are only supported in the Gobi wallet because the NFT doesn't exist yet. And there are some assumptions in some wallets that think NFTs should exist before you can offer them. So this is the next step in the process, is to get as much wallet support as possible and get support for those kinds of offers. But it's not so much the primitive of the minting, but more like the combination of mint and offer in a single spend that is currently not thoroughly supported.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you very much.
If a chip helps, then I will provide a chip. But I think it depends on what we want to do as a community. I feel it's just an application, and it doesn't really have to be a chip. Circuit DAO is also not going to be a chip. So it's basically one application on the Chia blockchain. But if it helps to coordinate all the changes that are necessary, then it might be a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think kind of as you identified, having the additional wallet support for the mint offers, as well as ensuring that that additional process of identifying the DIDs is documented. And of course, as you know, that's something that should probably be better documented anyway, because throughout the process you identified, there are already two different ways that DIDs should be identified within an NFT anyhow, and that's causing some discrepancy across wallets already. So I definitely think that would be a great thing for the community and developers. And you know me, I'm always happy to help with the chip process, and I'm sure we'll see you on that as well. A little bit more on the technical side for capabilities, and this one is from Rigidity. He is asking, if I wanted to pre-commit to 10,000 NFTs, for example, all of the pre-launchers cannot be created in a single block. Is he understanding correctly that you can unroll this in tree groups such that there would be something like 100 intermediary spends? Kind of the core question is, how are you handling these larger sizes?
So this is very much possible, yes. So if you look at this tree and imagine that this thing has this has 100 children and this thing has 100 children, and you don't know how many of those 10,000 NFTs that you're creating this way are actually being bought. Yes, you unroll this coin, you create 100 intermediate ones, and then you unroll the first one, create 100 offers, and only after those 100 offers, or let's say after 80% are sold, you unroll the second coin. And then when those are sold, you unroll the third coin. And so you can very dynamically unroll only the ones that you actually need. So the answer is yes.
Perfect. Thank you. And it's as you know, dealing with the bulk minting solution, it's great to see that compound upon itself and have that additional functionality. I think that's really exciting.
And I just noticed that I didn't show the tree that I pointed to. This is the one.
There we go. There we go. And Michael, just to reiterate on that question there, yes, being able to mint multiple different images in this method is possible, and it is a user interface implementation or enhancement that is underway for Mint Garden currently to support that. And then a reiteration from Sabari from SpaceScan. They are currently working on the support, and they will have that completed soon. Other than that, that wraps up all the questions that we've seen come through in Zoom and on Discord thus far.
I see another one from an anonymous attendee. Not sure if you see that one from 1940.
Oh, yes, there it is. Yeah.
From 8 minutes ago. So the question is whether you can see the whole collection of images even if they are not minted yet. And at the moment, they are hidden, although they exist in the database. Otherwise, it's hard to have them as parts of Office in the user interface. So they exist in the background. They're currently hidden, but depending on the use case, it might make sense to show them or to not show them, depending on how you want the minting experience to be. Some minting experiences would like to be more random, and you only get like a random rarity piece. Other things might want to have something where you can pick and choose, and you say, I want to mint this one. Very much possible, depending on the use case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you very much for addressing that one as well. And, that wraps up the questions that we've had come into here. Were there any other things that you wanted to touch on before we wrap up for the day here?
Any other questions, reach out to me. Also, if you have things that you want to do with this, doesn't have to be through the normal Mint Garden web minting, any special use cases that you see, feel free to reach out. And excited. It's fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we did have one last question come in by Hector. And I think it's a great question. Will this functionality have service to consume with an API? And I think this also maybe a little more context as to how can people utilize this service with Mint Garden or even outside of Mint Garden?
So yes, there already is an API, because that's how Mint Garden uses it itself. However, there's a bunch of Chia driver code that you need to make the DID spend and then basically start the whole process. But there is both API to figure out to like pre-compute this root coin, and there's also functionality to create those offers. And if you have a use case for this, for an API like this, please reach out. We will find a way to incorporate it into your use case.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, Acevail, I really appreciate the time today and the deep dive into Secure the Mint. It's a great primitive that's being added onto the Chia blockchain, and always appreciate the contributions that you provide to the ecosystem. So thank you very much, and very excited to see where this goes in the future. I know a number of the creators are going to start taking advantage of it here soon. Just to reiterate, if everybody looks inside of their chat, they should see Andreas's contact information as well as Mint Garden's contact information. However, if any other questions do arise, you can find him on Twitter, Discord, mintgarden.io, and he's also frequently inside of the Chia Discord as well. So if you lose track of any of his contact information, you can find him there also. But yeah, definitely reach out to Acevail and take advantage of this new minting solution. And we look forward to having another event with you here in the near future about some of the other stuff that'll be upcoming. But thank you again for your time, Acevail. Thank you to all of those who jumped in and joined for the webinar today. We're going to have some exciting events this next month, and Lori will be sending out information about that in the near future here. So keep an eye open for our next events that'll be occurring throughout April. Everybody have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again, Andreas, for a wonderful event.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye.
Absolutely. Have a great